is. But what really made me reach out and talk to someone about this and get to the point where I can tell my story is because of other possible victims.
They have
I don't want
Fred.
anyone else to, believe in the movement. And they, I'm like I said, maybe I did some stupid shit on my part. Like even going and scared enough. I like I said, I fought myself out of that situation in Vegas. Like
I love
really
you too,
could have beat
Jessica.
her ass. And if this had been
I love you too,
that's probably
Notorious.
what I would have done. But being that I want to be the human being that I preach to be, I try to do things differently. I try to grow every day and find better ways to handle situations, which is another reason why I did forgive her that night. I mean, not that night, that next morning. I forgave that night. Like, I chalked it up as, this is just a bad experience. Again, having my own, story with my sexuality, I'm like, maybe this woman just hasn't explored her sexuality. And I know that sounds like me giving her excuses and passes for her behavior. But she apologized and I accepted it. And I truly still believed in this person. But that incident in California and everything else that transpired after that, like we got an even more
Jessica, I love you too, baby.
That other situations were just more telling that this person was selfish as fuck. So by the time I got back to North Carolina, I couldn't even go live. Like, that's why I haven't been live. Like, I couldn't, like, it was like something just ain't clicking. Like, something ain't right. And I can't be crazy. Like, I can't just be, making this shit up in my head. Like, something is not right with this person. And when I reached out and I talked to other people to help me get through this, I understood that ain't no way in the hell I can go back to TikTok and be me without sharing my truth, because my whole platform is about being honest, regardless of what may happen, the consequences. Like you have to check that oppressor and stand in your accountability.
Right.
So I felt like there was no way I could come back to TikTok and be myself without being honest with people about what really happened to me and why I moved away from a movement that I truly fucking believed in. Because I absolutely believed in this. I absolutely believed in the people that I was working with. And it just turns out that that person is not trustworthy. That person is selfish. And it's really heartbreaking because I honestly, I can't stress enough like how much I actually.
Y'all please share the live. I'm sorry, I missed some of the comments.
Like I really had a lot of respect for this
I'm
person.
trying to stay out of the comments so I won't be talking too much while y'all watching the video.
And that last conversation really, I think it hurt me. Again, I'm not really good with expressing my fucking feelings for real, so I think it hurt me to talk to her and tell her how I felt. And she just kind of blew me off and was like, that's not how I perceived it. So I'm going to run with what I feel and fuck how you feel. So, if she'll do that to me, she'll do it to someone else.
Hey, take a moment, everybody in my comment section, everybody in the Palesa's comment section that follow us, take a moment to send her positive, universal energy and peace. Just take a moment to send her that energy. Share your energy of positivity, peace, and healing with her as she goes through this, as she tells us her story, and as she shares with us, and hoping that others can share and unburden yourselves from having to carry things that you should never have to carry. And that's what I don't think people understand when I talk about the movement.
Can y'all please share the live?
Yeah, when that's what I tell people, I think we have spent so much time fighting this movement from one perspective that we've lost sight of what we're fighting for. We know what we're fighting against, but we don't know what we're fighting for. And if we're just fighting to change the narrative from one group of people to another group of people and still suffer the same injustices, the same spiritual, the same physical, sexual assault that we have been, we are wasting our time. So that's why these stories are so relevant, because we're not just fighting against what is done to us. We're fighting against the trauma of what was done to us. And we cannot internalize that trauma and expect to heal from it. So this is about healing. This is about not just, and it's not about you learning anything because you didn't do anything wrong, but it's about sharing it so people can understand that you do not have to bury this. This is part of the movement. See, this is the thing. This is part of the movement that we're able to be there to help those in the movement heal past the trauma they have received and on any level. And we have to do that. We have to understand that when I say we are us, I literally mean we are us. So if somebody hurts you, they hurt me. And we have to be there to help you heal in any way. And I don't get to decide how you have to heal. I don't get to decide how you tell the story. I'm just truly here supporting you, telling the story in the way that you need to do to heal. And that's why I get on people in here, because they say, did you do this and did you do that? No, that's not you all's place. It is not your place to ask her what she has and has not done. You listen to the story, you let her unburden herself, and then she decides what does she need to heal.
Right. I kind of want to make it clear, not that I don't feel like this, okay, because here's the truth of it. Again, had a man done what Mo did to me in Vegas, there would be no question about it. That would be sexual assault. And I do struggle with, does this person deserve to go to jail? But the me that I am, I personally would put nobody in this place. This system ain't set up to help nobody for real. And the real me even has empathy and sympathy for those that we deem, outcasts of society or the criminals of the society, because I understand that this society creates those very fucking people. I understand that this is a fucking cycle, and I personally don't want to call the police for shit. I stopped calling police when I was a child. I called the police, I let the police know what the fuck was going on with me, and they took me right back to the motherfucking devil's abuse. I went to court, I filed charges against my parents, I filed charges against the man that tried to kill me. He was convicted, but he was allowed to come back to my motherfucking house every goddamn fucking weekend. My parents, because they were, prominent in the area, our case just kind of flew out the fucking window. The judge released us for recess, and I don't know whatever happened in that case. So me and the police, I don't have trust in them, and I don't have trust that the system itself is there to reform people any fucking way. So I don't actually know what should happen to them. All I can do is be honest about my experience with Mo, and like I said, if people want to continue to support her, that makes me, it has nothing to do with me. I can only be honest about my truth. I know that I do believe in karma, and I do believe that you get out what you get back what you put out into the world. So, I don't really know how to answer that question. Is as far as should she be locked up, or should she be, maybe she shouldn't, and everyone else would lock a man up. But me personally calling the police on her, that's not where I want to go with this. But I can't tell her supporters how to react to whatever the fuck is going on. And again, I'm not even here for anybody to believe me or not. If you don't believe me and you still want to support her, I have no hard feelings. That's you. I have nothing to do with how anyone else receives this message. I am only the messenger. It needs to be put out. People need to be cautious when they trust people. And like you said, especially in this fucking movement, when you think that you're supporting someone who is really about the betterment of society, and they're not. And I'm just trying to be as true to what I portray myself as possible. I felt, I was sexually assaulted. But what should happen to her, I don't know. I don't know.
I want to. You mentioned the cycle, and I want to address something. You mentioned the cycle, and you're so right. You know me. I don't call the police when the police are called on me. But in this case, we have to accept the fact that yes, something we need to break these cycles, but we don't need to sacrifice our people to do it. We have to find a way, and see, that's the challenge. No one ever said this was going to be easy. You knew that when you came forth, and not to say that we know it hasn't worked. So I agree with you in that sense, but I also know that, just like you say, you went through all this before and you were victimized by the system. So we're not going to victimize you. Yeah, we're not going to allow the system to victimize us again, but we're also not going to sacrifice ourselves for these systems either. And we will navigate it, because that's the truest form of this. The truest form of this is that we just have to start speaking our truths, and then those truths will lead to their own answers.
I'm so sorry, y'all.
Sometimes these cycles are allowed to continue because we suffer them
Loud, huh?
or shamefully.
I'm so sorry.
Like we did something wrong. No, we just start speaking these truths, and those truths lead to their own situational answers. And because some situations are different. There are some people that...
I forgot y'all was on the other end.
There are some people that... Oh, Queen. There are some people that we do need to throw over the highest rail that we can find. And there are some that are in their own trauma, and we need to acknowledge that, but also acknowledge that you still don't get to victimize me based on your trauma. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, they were running to the fact, they're just racist.
Wait a minute. Because I wonder if Cuban really heard that part. It's not okay to victimize me based on your trauma. Cuban, Nim. Your leader said that. His lying ass.
Because they were mentally ill, or they did this because they were mentally ill. Your mental illness does not give you a pass.
Thank you, y'all.
Anybody or to be racist, and we have to deal with it accordingly.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I absolutely do. And like I said, I guess again, it's just hard.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Y'all have to straighten. What? T. Jones, there is your truth, there is your opinion, and the truth. Just saying. You're not saying anything. You're just saying.
Not at all.
You're not saying anything. See, this is not the right time. You catch me when I'm alone, and I will deal with that ignorant ass shit. But right now, I am just warning you. This is not about any of that. I don't know, maybe that C-Spot Run anthology you were reading before you came to this live emboldened you to think that was an intelligent statement, but that was just a bunch of BS in relationship to what we're talking about right now. Because when we talk about things that are personal, they're always our truths. Now, how you respond to that truth dictates the next minutes you will spend in this live or not.
Thank you, Cliff. Yeah, like I said, I can't do anything but share my truth. What people do with it is what they're going to do with it. It was hard for me to share it. Like I said, even as a strong person, and you mentioned this earlier, like people not recognizing that strong people are not always strong. Like we're not strong 24/7. Like I am human. And
Jailbird.
Again, because I try to
or dodo bird
and be the type of person that I talk about being, I truly do try to dig deep and inspire change in people. Even when I see fucked up things in people, I still try to be that person that inspires change, because I mean, I feel like, isn't that what we're supposed to do as human beings, is help one another, inspire one another, encourage others to be better versions of themselves every fucking day, as well as checking yourself and doing the same, like holding yourself accountable when you're wrong, or when you're, like, that's me, that's who I am. So I can't really change how I react to certain things, because sometimes I do it because I try to see the good in that person. And again, like I said, there are some things that I probably should have done differently. That doesn't change what happened though. And that doesn't change her responsibility. And it doesn't change the fact that someone that is even less vocal in that moment than I was. Like, what if that happens to them? Like, will it go all the way this time? Like, would you actually rape that person this time? Because had I not fought her off and had we not lost our phones, I guarantee you it would not have stopped. I mean, this was true sexual assault. Like, grabbing my private parts, really trying to get me out of my clothes. And even at one point, like, and I don't know, like, y'all forgive me for, you know, kind of making jokes and things, but at one point, like, I even tried to, like, you know, kind of talk her out of it by letting her know I'm not a bottom. Like, you can't fuck with me. Like, I mean, I'm literally saying this to her. She's like, you know, I'm going to, you know, you're going to give me that. And I'm like, no, like, I don't let women fuck me. Like, I've never let a woman fuck. I fuck women. Women don't fuck me. Like, girls, so it's not going to happen. Like, it's not going to happen. I was like, you're a beautiful woman, but hey, I'm not a bottom. It's not going to happen. I'm even trying to make light of the situation in that moment. And still, at the end of that moment, I knew in that moment I felt sexually assaulted. What I have a hard time, I guess, dealing with is the fact that I forgave her and allowed myself to be in that situation again where she abused me again. Like that was, it is what it is. Like, even though it was something as minimal as taking off my seatbelt and looking me in my eyes and saying what she said, that still felt like sexual assault. Like, that still felt like, bitch, you're putting my life in danger and you don't give a fuck. And so, I don't know, again, I've been trying to deal with it the best way I know how, but that's not even my issue. My issue is other people possibly being victimized, other people possibly being taken advantage of, being lied to, or even in the worst case scenario, actually being fucking raped. Like, women rape women, it happens. So, you know, I think that's even an issue that I struggle to, because I grew up in this society too. I grew up in the same society everybody else grew up in. So I grew up with every, you know, even men not taking their own sexual assault from women seriously. So I have struggled with equating her as a sexual predator, because it is hard to look at women in that manner. But the truth of it is women are sexual. They can be sexual predators too. They can be rapists. They can be, you know, sexual harassers. Like, they can take advantage of people sexually. Like, it happens. Women do this. And it is what it is. And although I might have a hard time struggling with how I feel about it, it does not change the fact that it is what it is. It happened. And it was sexual assault. Again, there is no doubt that if this was a man, I mean, it would probably people would have probably already left out of this and started calling the cops on him anyway. Whether I said call the police or not, people would have probably took it in their own hands to go and get this man arrested. Because that's exactly what the fuck it was. And we need to talk about women being predators, and we need to make it normal for women to recognize when they're being victimized by other women.
Yes. And I feel you, and it hits home when you say that, because you don't. Even though we know it, and I figure, you know, we know that this happens, but we still look at it differently, right, because of the patriarchy and how we've been conditioned by the patriarchy. We look at it so much differently when we have sexual predators that are women or girls. It's like high school teachers that victimize their students, and we look at it with the male, we like, oh, we don't even look at it as victimization, but we look at it as a notch in the belt. But we need to start there, and that's why I say your truth is very relevant to our truth, because it is our truth. It just, you're telling the truth about things in our society, our culture, the movement that we lie to ourselves about at best, or we gloss over at worst. And we need to stop. You know, that's what is so refreshing about this is that we need to address these issues because we can't fight. Oh, you know, you were talking about fighting, why we fight, but we don't fight on just one level. We have to simultaneously address all of these issues, and we are capable of walking and chewing bubble gum at the same time. So,
like I said, that's why I feel like this I had to share this story because, again, no matter how I felt about it, and I even said this to Mo, like I tried to explain to her, like, because, you know, she was like, you know, I thought what happened in Vegas was consensual, and even more so, she felt like I was over it. And like I told her, the incident in the car triggered everything back. Like, it made me rethink every fucking thing. Like,
right.
Yes, I forgive you. I did. Like, I told her, like, there's no, like, I forgave you for that. Like, I never would have thought any more about it had you not turned around and done what you did in the car that night and took off my fucking seatbelt. That shit hit me. It was like a punch in the fucking face. And it hit me so hard that night. And, I mean, I know that I'm not at fault for anything. But normal thing is humans beat themselves up all the time for shit that they shouldn't. And so I have gone back and forth, like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you say this? And why didn't you say that? And, you know, why didn't you talk to her earlier? Because even she was like, well, why didn't you talk to me about this earlier? And like I told her, it's not very easy, first of all, you know, expressing a difference of opinion with you. And, you know, I have my moments with that too. Strong-headed people sometimes have a hard time listening to other people. So, what I do with my experience with Mo, it's not exactly easy to tell Mo when you don't like something or when you don't agree with something or whatever. But in that moment, I couldn't talk to her. I didn't know what the fuck to say to her. Like, I literally froze in that moment, looking her in her eyes, recognizing that she recognizes that I'm uncomfortable. And I just felt, I think I felt more, like, even though the shit in Vegas was way harsher than what happened in California, I can honestly say I felt more victimized in California than I did in Vegas, because at that point, I knew that she did not care who she threw under the bus, how she sacrificed this person. You looked me dead in my eyes and ignored that I was uncomfortable, ignored that I was asking you silently for your help. And you did what the fuck you wanted to do anyway. And that is what gave me a scary fucking thought about Mo. Like, if you can do that, what else are you capable of? And I would not feel right allowing people to continue to support you blindly. If they, like I said, if they still want to support her after this, that's on them. That ain't got nothing to do with it. But to support you blindly and not know what you have done, I couldn't do that. I couldn't, no matter how I processed the situation, no matter if I felt victimized or not. And like I told her, it's not up to you to decide whether you sexually assaulted me or not. You sexually assaulted me. I said no. I said stop. I said don't. I said quit. I said no, Mo, I'm not a fucking bottom. I said no. And you still kept going. That is the exact definition of sexual fucking assault. In honestly, attempted rape. That's exactly what the fuck that was. Because not only were you coming on to me, you were grabbing my private parts. You were trying to pull my clothes off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, had I not fucked her off, I just would have been fucked in that damn bathroom. So at the end of the day, that was sexual assault. And no matter how I feel about it, no matter how many excuses I want to come up with in my head, it is what it is. And I don't want anyone else in that fucking situation.
And that's it. Like you say, what people do with this information once you have it, it is better to have something and decide to not need it than to need something and not have it. Whatever you choose to do with it in your situation, that becomes on you. We can't be accused of not letting you know, or can't be accused of keeping something from you.
Right.
Gum went down the wrong way.
It's okay.
But we can't, and that's why I said we have to stand in our truth. We have to tell people, because from then on, it's like you can't say you didn't know. You can't say you didn't know, and you take the precautions that you need to take. I mean, I'd rather know and not need it than to need it and not know it. Yeah, this is what we are. So, this is exactly capable of anything all this person thing. And I think, and that's the part for me when the trigger, like you said, that was the part for me, because sometimes we forgive people we shouldn't. You know me, I'm not big on, I'm not big on forgetting, or I believe in punching in the face, but I digress. We are the same in that sense. But sometimes we forgive people.
Yeah. I was going through a lot at that moment. Like, I was going through the house situation. I ain't trying to spend no money to bail myself out of jail. I'm trying to get my kids all the way across the United States. So I'm like, I can't get this bitch ass and then be stuck in fucking jail. So I really, like I said, I even tried to play it off, like with the whole, I'm not about them, bro. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Like, no matter how, like, even if I did find you attractive, bitch, you can't fuck me. Like, no. Like, it's, but even trying to play it off didn't work.
Right. And that was so jarring for me when I hear your story, is that even after that, it wasn't until California when you realized that you were trying to make an adjustment, hoping this was a one-off, and then you realized at that moment that everything I forgave you for is who you are.
Exactly. And even Ice Speak asked me, and that's why
Who blocked
him beforehand.
Who blocked Voodoo Boo?
Know that I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but I can't be honest about how I feel without including that fucking moment.
Who's blocked him?
That moment
and for
is
what?
What triggered everything for me, because he asked me, he was like, what happened?
Voodoo Boo, you still here or no?
And I was like, that moment when she took off my seatbelt, I knew then, like you said, that everything I had forgiven her for was bullshit. It was bullshit. And
okay.
I mean, it hurt in that moment. Like, it felt like a stab wound that fucking moment, because I am an in the moment type of person. Like, I feel that shit how it is, and I react in that moment how the fuck I'm going to react. And if I feel like I need to ponder on shit, I will. If I feel like I just need to bust your head, I don't have no problem doing that either. But I was so shocked and so, and I'm really looking at her like I'm still staring at her as she's taking off my seatbelt, because I'm in disbelief that you would know that I'm uncomfortable. Like, now it ain't no questions about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, in Vegas, I'm saying no, but she's not recognizing it. And I'm making excuses like maybe I ain't say no harsh enough. Maybe I had a too much of a smirk on my face when I said no, or whatever. But this moment, bitch, I'm looking you dead in your eyes. No doubt about how I feel. Don't do this. Right. And that just, I mean, it hit me like, it really, 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 really fucked me up. Like, I really did not know what the fuck was going on in my head. And honestly, the first person I reached out to was, she actually reached out to me. And props to City Cat, because I'm not sure that I would even be telling my story right now if it wasn't for City Cat. Like, I don't think I would be ready enough to tell my story if it wasn't for City Cat kind of sensing something was wrong. And she hit me up. And she was like, I feel like such and such, and I feel like you and this person, because mind you guys, the whole time that we've been a part of We Are Here For It, Cuban Delight and I never really had any direct conversation other than at the protest. Everything we did, everything we planned together as a group was done through Mo. So I'm getting one side of the story from Mo. Cuban is getting one side of the story about things from Mo. And then, so City Cat was like, I think that you guys are a group. Something's gonna have to give. Like, something has to come up this. Like, you guys have to find some type of clarity. And even in this moment, I hadn't told City Cat about the sexual assault. I just told her how I was feeling about the movement and the doubts that I was having about the person, and she told me to reach out to Cuban, and she was like, I really feel like, y'all are a group, and the three of you are involved. So if you need to reach out to anybody, it should be the other person in the group. So when I reached out to Cuban directly, like I said, those two women, along with Daewoo, Cuban brought Daewoo in to also help me kind of, collect my thoughts and get this shit together. And if it wasn't for those three women, I don't think that I would be ready to tell my story. And honestly, again, with Ice, it threw me off that someone stood in their accountability. There was no, it wasn't, oh, I didn't do this to you. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't, let me clarify that there was another situation that happened that
okay, here it goes. I knew I said this. I just didn't know who. Let me go back, because I knew at some point I made it clear that there was a whole other incident that happened in that very first live. Sorry, y'all. My heart is beating. I'm fucking shaking because I knew I made it clear that he had done something else. And he was in that live corroborating my story by supporting me and telling me to tell my story however the fuck I needed it to be told. So I just want to back that up just a little bit because I want y'all to fucking pay attention. I'm so sorry. I knew I fucking said this shit, but I didn't have this live. Because I wasn't collecting lives to go back and prove what the fuck I said. But I knew I said this shit in that first live. Y'all, I'm literally fucking shaking like hell.
Off my seatbelt because I'm in disbelief that you would know that I'm uncomfortable.
Hold on, I may have backed it up a little too far. Sorry, y'all. But anyway, please share this live. Is this all the way up?
And I'm making excuses like maybe I ain't say no harsh enough, and maybe I had a too much of a smirk on my face when I said no, or whatever. But this moment, bitch, I'm looking you dead in your eyes. No doubt about how I feel. Don't do this.
Right.
And that just, it hit me like...
I'm sorry, I'm trying to hold the phone straight, but I'm really shaking right now.
I really did not know what the fuck was going on in my head. And honestly, the first person I reached out to was, she actually reached out to me. And props to City Cat, because I'm not sure that I would even be telling my story right now if it wasn't for City Cat. I don't think I would be ready enough to tell my story if it wasn't for City Cat kind of sensing something was wrong. And she hit me up. And she was like, I feel like such and such, and I feel like you and this person, because mind you guys, the whole time that we've been a part of We Are Here For It, Cuban Delight and I never really had any direct conversation other than at the protest. Everything we did, everything we planned together as a group was done through Mo. So I'm getting one side of the story from Mo. Mm-hmm. Cuban is getting one side of the story about things from Mo. And then, so City Cat was like, I think that you guys are a group. Something's going to have to give. Something has to come of this. You guys have to find some type of clarity. And even in this moment, I hadn't told City Cat about the sexual assault. I just told her how I was feeling about the movement and the doubts that I was having about the person. And she told me to reach out to Cuban. And she was like, I really feel like, y'all are a group and the three of you are involved. So if you need to reach out to anybody, it should be the other person in the group. So when I reached out to Cuban directly, like I said, those two women, along with Daewoo, Cuban brought Daewoo in to also help me kind of, collect my thoughts and get this shit together. And if it wasn't for those three women, I don't think that I would be ready to tell my story. And honestly, again, with I Speak, it threw me off that someone stood in their accountability. There was no like, it wasn't, oh, I didn't do this to you. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't, let me clarify that there was another situation that happened that night that I Speak has fully apologized for. Again, I did not feel offended by it. I did not feel like this was a predator in this situation. I honestly felt like this was just somebody who was playing too much, and I wasn't with the bullshit that night. Again, when he recognized that I was not with it, he pulled back. But to have someone, to confront someone about feeling a certain way, about feeling uncomfortable about something, because although I didn't feel sexually assaulted, I still felt uncomfortable with what happened. And the fact that this man never denied it, waited till I finished and told me that my thoughts are valid, my experience was valid, my truth was valid, and the only thing he could do was apologize for his actions. But he was more pissed about how hurt I was by feeling sexually assaulted. And I think that tore him apart more than anything, that I actually was sexually assaulted by someone. It wasn't him. It was her, the person that I trusted the most, because I didn't know I Speak for real. I wasn't going to be comfortable around him regardless. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I didn't know him for. So
yeah, I want to, and that's the part. And that's the part I think people don't understand in my comment section. We want to understand that this is about what Mo did to her, but what Anthony's part was not a part so much as just, like she said, they just met. She was uncomfortable. She would have been uncomfortable in that situation with myself, and I wouldn't have blamed her because she has a right to be. And so this is about her friend who she is supposed to be comfortable with. And their actions.
Exactly that part.
Right.
That part. I was supposed to have a friend there. And like I said, regardless, I don't judge nobody for having fun.
Yes, Mo and Claudia talk as the same person.
I had fun with Mo that night. I had fun with Daewoo. I had fun with Cuban. I had fun that night. But when I was uncomfortable and I was no longer having fun, the only person that did recognize that was I Speak. Not the motherfucker that is supposed to be my fucking friend, that is supposed to be recognizing when I'm telling her I feel uncomfortable with my eyes, my body language, all of that shit. I'm telling her, no, bitch, don't open my fucking door. Don't undo my seatbelt. Like I told I Speak. I should have been like, I don't play like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all do what y'all doing, whatever. I didn't. But I didn't have to say a word to him. He looked at my facial expressions.
Right. And
he understood. She's not comfortable. Let me back off. This motherfucker who knew I done been in your house. I done slept in your bedroom at the foot of your fucking bed on an air mattress twice. The last time I was in Vegas, when the shit happened, the whole fucking attempted rape situation, I actually had to stay there for like 6 days.
Right.
Like, that's how long I was there. And I did not get back in the car with her. I didn't go nowhere else with her. I stayed outside for the majority of the time that I was there because I didn't even want to be at her house for real. That's how uncomfortable I felt. But again, I forgave her. And I felt like this was just someone who made a mistake. And now that she's experienced it, she's apologized. This will never happen again. And lo and behold, I was fucking wrong as fuck. Like, I was wrong as fucking fuck. And I can't help but to feel, not that I feel like I have any blame in it, but I just feel like, I was just stupid. Like, bitch, I should have recognized who you were when you showed me who you were in Vegas. Like, I should not have, it should not have taken that incident for me to recognize what the fuck went on. I hate that it did because, I don't know if anybody else has been in that situation since then, and I don't know if anybody else will, but I don't want to be the reason that somebody is because I didn't share my truth and my honesty. Again, y'all can believe what you want to. I'm not here. I say this all the time. Even just my platform, period. Don't believe what the fuck I say. You can do your own research, do your own evidence, whatever. I don't give a fuck who believes me or not. I'm just telling my truth so that I can be honest with myself.
Right.
Who the fuck is Rabbi Cuban out here? Okay, somebody, do I have moderators in here? Like,
Cuban, head over.
this says Cuban out here fucking for money. And can I just address that? Who gives a fuck? Even if she was, that's her fucking coochie. If that's what the fuck she want to do with her coochie, then who the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know many women who haven't sold some motherfucking coochie. Do you know how hard it is out here to be a motherfucking woman in this goddamn society? So I don't know if you feel like you shaming Cuban or you're putting her out there on blast or you just flat out lying about it. I don't have no issues with that. So to say that here holds no fucking weight. Go sell your coochie.
Yeah, ain't nobody in. Yeah, obviously, your coochie having problems. I guess you can't even sell it.
Right.
Yeah. See that, and you know, and this is how, you know, even in our trauma that we deal with, we have to deal with bigots, racists, and agents of white supremacy. Because you stumbled into it in this moment where we're talking about trauma and say something like that. That lets you know you don't care about our trauma. You just care about these points you think you're trying to make. But even in our pain, in our trauma, we still are miles, light years ahead of you, and you are nothing but shit. Just understand that. Right. We know that. We see who you are.
Like, we're talking about sexual trauma, and you up here trying to shame somebody. Like, even if that was what Cuban was doing, like, why would you even, like, okay, that's her coochie. Like,
yeah.
Hell, she might got some good shit. So the fuck, sell it if you want to. I ain't mad at you, shit.
Yeah, I'll be out here selling dick if I thought it would help the homeless situation. Now, yeah, don't play with me. Yeah, y'all live in those pearl clutching worlds. We come from the real world. Yeah,
exactly. I've said more than one. I got kids, and if it ever came to the moment where it was, you know, think I won't.
Yeah.
Think I won't. I have kids. I'm not finna shame nobody. Hell, matter of fact, you know what? I'm not even, because then this will get me really back into my mode and start talking about shit, you know, because that's the oldest profession in the motherfucking world, bitch. Like, coochie ain't never gonna be off the market, so.
Yeah. Suffer from the effects of the Willie Lynch syndrome.
Put it on the fucking shelf, bitch.
Yeah, like I say, at least you got some to sell. But anyway, moving right along. Moving right along. Yeah,
I'm gonna move right along too. I gotta get up off of here in a minute. My daughter's getting a little rowdy, y'all. I got a terrible 2-year-old, so
and my battery about to go dead, and I'm like sitting here like I gotta let the phone cool down before you can charge it. What kind of bullshit is this?
Right. Look, mine has done this. Like, I got a Samsung Galaxy, and I'm glad the thing don't blow up in your face no more. Because now when they get hot, they just cut off.
Yeah, and I love my Samsung. That's I'm sitting there saying this, but I would never have another phone. Yeah, this is the phone. But Queen, anytime you want to reach out, anytime you want to talk, let me know. I'm here for it. Because we must tell these truths, and only by telling them can we set ourselves free. All right.
Right. And set each other free. Shit.
That's it. Because the secrets are just as impactful on the people we're keeping them for as the people keeping them. So
exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we unburden ourselves. Thank you, Queen, for joining me, and I will see you all later. I came on just to talk to this queen, but I'm in D.C. Yay! So you know I got to head down to the Capitol and make some trouble. So I'll see you all later, and peace to everybody for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you. But my story changed, huh? It's kind of surreal to see myself back like that. Because like I said, I haven't watched that. I don't have a Twitch. I don't follow T Nathan on Twitch. So I never, thank you, baby. Thank you, y'all. So I never watched that live back. So that was my first time watching it back right here with y'all. I Speak was in that live, supporting me in that live. Hey, baby, thank you. Supporting me in that live, where I clearly say he had done something earlier that night. And mind you, if somebody, especially as a sexual assault victim, sexual molestation, rape victim, when you go and confront somebody about what they've done to you, matter of fact, let me back up. Because even when I confronted I Speak, this was after talking to Daewoo and Daewoo telling me, express your feelings to him. He will hear you out. He's a good guy. He's a stand-up guy. I know that he didn't, I know he made you feel uncomfortable, but I know he didn't mean anything by it. And me being in the military, I thought it was on the sexual side. Of course, they've been sexually flirting all night long. But when you've been in the military and you see that type of sexual banter, you know that a lot of people are just trying to fit in. You know what I'm saying? Like, because in the military, you either fit in or you're an outcast. So you either go with the flow or you're an outcast. And your job is at jeopardy. You know what I'm saying? Like, people fuck with you when you don't go with the flow. So that night, I looked at him as a young, like I said, I thought he was younger than what he is. Because I just looked at him as a silly little fucking goofy ass military dude that plays too much and doesn't realize that he's outside of his fucking military setting and he's around people he don't know and he playing too fucking much with somebody he don't fucking know. So when I confronted him and he basically confirmed everything I said, didn't gaslight me, didn't tell me I was wrong, didn't say I didn't do that, none of that. It was none of that. No pushback at all. It was just, I'm sorry, your feelings are valid. I was wrong. Playing is not an excuse. You don't get that very often. And that's what I got from him. And then following that with, tell your story. I support you 100%. Any backlash that comes my way, I got it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll stand in my accountability. And then, 3 days later, Closet Talk drops the audio of me telling her what I Speak did to Cuban. Again, I asked, if your issue is with me accusing you of sexual assault, and you're a sexual assault victim yourself, a rape victim, why would that be the part, that is the very first part of the audio she puts out. She didn't put out the part where she apologizes to me, where she later put that out. She didn't put out the part where I said, I don't even want to call it sexual assault, which she later put out. She put out the part where I'm talking about Cuban's story. Why would a person being accused of sexual assault and a victim of sexual assault and rape herself put out the part where it is exposing someone else's story that didn't tell, she didn't tell you. She didn't tell TikTok. She didn't tell anybody publicly. So why would you, the one being accused of sexual assault, the victim of sexual assault and rape, put out somebody else's story to defend yourself? And why didn't I Speak deny a goddamn thing until that video, that audio came out, and Cuban says, I was never sexually assaulted by I Speak. And what would you have me think it really was when this man is doing all of this to cover up what he did, when he was okay with admitting it over the phone? I'm not, what do you mean you're hung up on Cuban sleeping with him? I don't understand. Do y'all have proof of Cuban sleeping with I Speak? That's all I want to know. Do you have proof of Cuban sleeping with I Speak? And even if she did sleep with I Speak, that doesn't negate the things that I Speak did. So if he indeed sexually assaulted her, that doesn't negate him sexually assaulting her. Like, you can have consensual sex with someone one day and say no the next day. And if they continue, it is indeed rape. It doesn't matter what type of history you have with that person. So I'm not understanding this whole throwing out Cuban slept with him. Whether she slept with him or not is neither here nor there, unless you want to focus on what he does in his marriage and what she does with her coochie. But if we're focusing on the characteristics of these people, Cuban definitely indeed told me something happened to her, which I then shared with a friend who happened to be there that night when it happened. This was not a stranger that wasn't there. This was somebody that was in the same house with us when all of this shit happened that night. So I don't understand why y'all keep throwing out that she slept with this man. And without proof, like, I ain't seen nobody prove that she slept with this man. And for what? What would that prove anyway? What would that prove anyway? It don't matter at all. Y'all give me 1 second. I'm gonna check on my baby. Oh, her little butt ain't sleep, but at least she in there drawing and coloring with her brother, and not on the wall in the coloring book. Yeah, that was kind of deep there. That was kind of deep to hear myself back. But anyway, I would love for those that say my story Okay, so here's the deal. I'm working with 2 Samsung phones and 1 good charger. And both of these phones need to charge. So, who lied on me? Wait, what happened? Oh my God.